It doesn't happen overnight. There's no announcement, no warning bell, just a slow, creeping shift, so subtle you barely notice. One day, you realize your morning erections aren't as firm or frequent. Your confidence during intimacy starts to falter. You catch yourself avoiding the mirror, and the worst part, you blame yourself, thinking it's just part of getting old. But here's the truth. Your body has been speaking to you, whispering signs. Subtle changes in blood flow, nerve sensitivity, and hormonal balance don't come with fireworks. They arrive in silence. And if you're over 60, chances are your penis is aging faster than you are. Not because you're broken, but because no one ever told you how to take care of it. Not really. Most men grow up thinking if it works, period. There's no maintenance manual, no father-to-son talk about blood vessels, oxygenation, or why inactivity can actually harm you. You were told to be strong, quiet, stoic, and now, decades later, that silence has left you with questions you're almost embarrassed to ask. Let's be clear, you're not alone. Nearly 1 in 3 men over 60 experience some degree of erectile dysfunction. But it's not just about erections. It's about what they represent. Vitality, control, intimacy, the ability to express love and desire without hesitation or fear. And when that starts slipping away, the emotional toll can be just as heavy as the physical. Think about it. Have you ever avoided a romantic moment, afraid of what if? Have you ever stared at your partner, pretending you were tired, when the truth was, you didn't trust your body to respond? That hesitation doesn't come from weakness. It comes from a lifetime of not being taught what's normal, what's fixable, and what's worth fighting for. Because here's the good news, this decline isn't irreversible. Your penis isn't just a passenger in the aging process. It responds to care, attention, and effort. Just like your heart, just like your muscles, you can restore blood flow, you can regain sensitivity, you can feel confident again. And the first step? Awareness. Understanding that what you're experiencing isn't failure, it's biology. And biology can be improved. We're going to walk through the 5 most powerful proven ways to keep your penis in top shape. But before we do, ask yourself something. When was the last time you actually prioritized your intimate health? Not just function, but well-being. Because if your answer is, it's been a while, don't worry, what matters is what you do next. And the next step you take might be the one that gives you back what you thought was gone forever. It's easy to overlook. You step into the shower, rinse off, maybe give a quick scrub and move on. After all, it's just hygiene, something you've done your whole life, right? But here's the wake-up call most men never get. After 60, what used to be good enough may no longer protect you, because what's at stake now isn't just odor or comfort. It's your health, your future, and in some cases, your life. Let's talk plainly. The skin of the penis becomes thinner with age, more fragile, less resistant to bacteria and inflammation. If you're uncircumcised, the risk rises even more, especially if the foreskin isn't cleaned gently and thoroughly. Tiny particles of sweat, dead skin, and bodily fluids can collect in that area and silently create the perfect environment for infections to grow. And it doesn't stop there. Poor hygiene has been directly linked to one of the most devastating diagnoses a man can receive: penile cancer. It's rare, yes, but far more common in older men who neglect this part of their body. The irony? It's almost always preventable, with nothing more than soap, water, and 30 seconds of attention. But not just any soap. Many popular products are filled with fragrances, alcohols, and chemicals that disrupt your skin's natural balance. They can dry out the sensitive tissue, cause micro-irritations, or even trigger infections. What your penis needs is a neutral soap, something made for sensitive skin with no unnecessary additives. Glycerin-based soaps are ideal. Clean gently, rinse thoroughly, and most importantly, dry completely. Why? Because moisture invites bacteria. When you leave the area damp, especially under the foreskin or around folds of skin, you're inviting yeast and harmful microbes to settle in. Over time, this can lead to chronic irritation, foul odor, or painful inflammation that makes intimacy uncomfortable or even impossible. And if you're sexually active, cleaning after intercourse is critical. Vaginal pH is different from penile. pH and leaving fluids behind creates a chemical imbalance that can irritate the skin and alter the natural microbiome. A quick rinse, even with just warm water and a soft towel, can protect you from infections you may not even know you're risking. These aren't cosmetic tips. They're not about vanity. They're survival strategies for a part of your body that's been serving you quietly and faithfully for decades. And if you've never been taught this, it's not your fault. Most men weren't, but now you know, and knowing is power. So the next time you step into the shower, don't rush, don't skip, because those extra 30 seconds could mean years of comfort, connection, and confidence. And while hygiene might seem simple, what happens when neglect goes beyond the surface, deep into the tissue, the function, and the future of your health? There's a quiet truth no one tells you. Your penis is like any other part of your body. If you don't use it, you start to lose it. It might sound like a crude saying, but it's backed by biology. Erections aren't just about pleasure or performance, they're about circulation, oxygen, tissue health. Each erection is a vital process that brings fresh blood into the penis, stretching the vessels, nourishing the nerves, and keeping everything responsive and alive. Without that regular influx, the tissues begin to harden, lose elasticity, and slowly shut down. Now, let's be real. After 60, many men find themselves in a different rhythm of life. Maybe you've lost a partner, maybe you live alone, maybe the stress of aging, illness, or just emotional distance has dimmed that flame. And so, without even noticing, weeks turn into months without an erection, whether from intimacy or solo stimulation. What happens then? The penile muscles begin to atrophy. The veins and arteries that once carried strong, oxygen-rich blood start to narrow. Nerve endings grow dull. And with each passing week of inactivity, your chances of getting a spontaneous or reliable erection drop further. Not because of age alone, but because your body thinks you don't need that function anymore. But here's what's truly remarkable. The body responds when you show up. Just like lifting weights strengthens your arms, regularly stimulating. And engaging your intimate areas helps preserve and even restore function. This doesn't mean you need to force anything. It's not about performance or pressure. It's about healthy activity, gentle, regular movement. A signal to your body that this part of you still matters. Even men who no longer feel arousal the way they used to can benefit from this practice. Devices like vacuum erection pumps can help maintain circulation and tissue health. Pelvic floor exercises, often overlooked, can strengthen the muscles that support erectile function. You'd be surprised how much of your intimate health is connected to muscles you've never thought about, muscles you can retrain. And it's not just physical. There's an emotional ripple effect. When you reconnect with your body, when you start to feel sensation and blood flow returning, something else awakens: confidence. That quiet strength that comes from knowing you're not fading. You're still here, still alive, still deserving of pleasure, connection, and self-respect. So ask yourself, when was the last time you did something, anything, to keep your body engaged down there? Because this isn't about youth, it's about action, intention. You're not a passenger in this process. And the next time you notice a quiet morning or a missed opportunity, remember, maybe it's not your body failing you. Maybe it's just waiting for your signal to begin again. No one talks about it. Not your buddies, not your doctor, not even the articles that claim to know what men go through. But behind closed doors, it happens more than you think. Trying to have sex without a full erection. You tell yourself it's fine. Maybe you're tired, maybe you've had a drink, maybe it's been a while. So you push through, hoping that once things get started, everything will kick into gear. But here's the harsh truth. Forcing intimacy when your erection isn't complete doesn't just feel awkward. It can harm you in ways that accumulate silently, painfully, and sometimes permanently. When the penis is only partially erect, it lacks the internal pressure that keeps the tissue firm and aligned. The result? Friction and force are absorbed unevenly. Every thrust becomes a risk, not for dramatic sudden injury, but for micro tears, small traumas deep in the tissue, barely noticeable at first, but stacking up with each time you push. Through the discomfort, over weeks or months, this repeated strain can form hardened plaques inside the shaft. You may not feel it right away, but eventually the signs creep in, a slight curve you never had before. Sensitivity changes, difficulty achieving full hardness, or worst of all, pain. This condition has a name, Peyronie's disease. And while it affects thousands of older men, most only learn about it after the damage is done, after they look in the mirror and see a curve they can't explain, after a partner asks if something feels different, after the shame sets in, even though none of this was their fault, because how could you avoid a risk you never knew existed? The good news? Awareness changes everything. Knowing that trying to perform with a half erection is not just frustrating, but physically damaging, gives you permission to pause, to wait, to reconnect with your partner without the pressure of performance, to explore other forms of intimacy until your body is truly ready and safe. It also empowers you to be proactive. If full erections are becoming rare, it's not something to ignore. It's a sign, a signal to explore what's causing the issue: circulation, hormones, stress, or even habits like alcohol or medication use. These factors are often manageable with attention and care. The goal isn't perfection, it's preservation, protecting the tissue, the nerves, the vessels that give you not just pleasure, but confidence and identity. So the next time things aren't quite ready, don't rush, don't force it, listen to your body. Because each time you treat yourself with patience and respect, you're not giving up, you're protecting something irreplaceable. And if damage can build in silence, imagine how powerful healing can be when you finally begin to listen. You sit down, maybe out of habit, maybe out of boredom, maybe just to feel something again. It starts as curiosity, but after a few minutes or a few years, something changes. You don't feel excited anymore. You feel numb, and you're not alone. What most men over 60 were never told is this: long-term exposure to pornography rewires your brain. It's not just about morality or culture, it's neuroscience. Your brain has a reward system designed to fire off dopamine when something matters: food, love, intimacy, safety. But porn hijacks that system, offering fast, exaggerated stimulation that's impossible to match in real life. At first it feels thrilling, but over time, the same content doesn't do it anymore. So you scroll longer, search for more intense videos, click through dozens in a single session. Your brain adapts, not by getting more excited, but by numbing itself to the overload. The same thing that once triggered desire now barely registers. And then, the real-world consequences begin. You're with your partner and can't stay. Hard. You feel disconnected. You need fantasy just to get aroused. You begin to doubt your body, doubt your manhood. But the problem isn't your age. It's that your brain has been trained, often for years, to respond to screens, not touch, to novelty, not connection. This isn't about shame. It's about understanding what's happening beneath the surface. Porn doesn't just impact arousal. It affects memory, mood, motivation, and even how you view yourself and others. It isolates. It replaces intimacy with performance. And worst of all, it convinces you that you're the only one struggling. But here's the truth. Many older men are facing this. quietly, alone. And yet, the brain is plastic. It can change, rewire, heal. When you start cutting back, even just a few days at a time, your sensitivity begins to return. Real touch starts to feel good again. You stop needing louder, faster, harder to feel something. You reconnect, not just with your body, but with yourself. Of course, it's not easy. Habits built over decades don't vanish overnight. But every day, you choose presence over pixels. Your brain thanks you. Your partner notices. Your confidence grows. If you've ever felt empty after watching porn, if you've ever asked yourself, why do I feel more alone now than before? You're not broken, you're human, and your brain is simply doing what it was trained to do. But the same way it was trained to disconnect, it can be retrained to feel again, deeply, fully, and without shame. Because real intimacy doesn't come from a screen. It comes from connection. And that's something no video can ever replicate. You are what you eat, and so is your erection. That might sound like a joke, but it's dead serious. Because when it comes to intimate health, what you put on your plate is just as important as what you do in the bedroom. The truth is, your penis isn't isolated from the rest of your body. It relies on blood flow, nerve sensitivity, and hormonal balance, all of which are directly influenced by your daily diet. So let's break it down. Your penis is a vascular organ. That means it depends on healthy, flexible blood vessels to function properly. And just like with your heart, those vessels can become clogged, inflamed, or narrowed by poor dietary choices. Foods high in saturated fats, sugars, and processed ingredients cause your arteries to stiffen. When that happens, blood flow to the groin area decreases, silently, consistently, and dangerously. Now think about how many men in their 60s and 70s are already dealing with high blood pressure, cholesterol issues, or diabetes. These aren't just heart risks, they're erection killers, but there's hope, and it starts at the grocery store. Fresh vegetables, leafy greens, nuts, berries, and fatty fish like salmon are loaded with nutrients that support blood vessel health. Think of these foods as natural lubricants for your circulatory system. They help reduce inflammation, lower blood pressure, and improve nitric oxide production, the very compound your body uses to trigger erections. And let's talk about hydration. Many older men walk around mildly dehydrated without realizing it. Dehydration thickens your blood, slows circulation, and can lead to feelings of fatigue and low libido. Drinking enough water each day, simple, clean water, can make a noticeable difference in how you feel and perform. Then there's alcohol. One glass of wine here and there isn't the problem. But regular excessive drinking numbs your nervous system and drops testosterone levels over time. That casual nightcap, it might be working against your intimate health without you even noticing. What about supplements? While some can help, the best medicine is still real food. A plate of spinach, a handful of almonds, a piece of dark chocolate. They don't just nourish your body, they send a message. You care enough to protect your future because every meal is a choice. A decision about how you want to live and love. So ask yourself, is your diet fueling your vitality or slowly draining it? If your energy is low, your drive is slipping, or your confidence feels shaken, maybe the first thing to change isn't in the bedroom, but in the kitchen. And the next time you sit down for dinner, remember, what you eat tonight could define how you feel tomorrow in more ways than one. It sounds harmless. You toss on your regular briefs, climb into bed, and drift off. Same routine for decades. But what if something as small as your underwear choice at night was quietly working against your intimate health? As strange as it may seem, your sleepwear matters, especially after 60. Let's start with something many men don't realize. During sleep, you still get erections, even if you don't notice them. In fact, nocturnal erections are one of the most important biological signals of penile health. They help oxygenate and stretch the erectile tissue, keeping it strong and functional. It's your body's natural maintenance system. No pills, no effort, just nature doing its job. But when you wear tight underwear to bed, especially fabrics that compress or trap heat, you interrupt that process. You restrict blood flow, you create friction, and over time, that pressure can cause micro damage during those nighttime erections. It may not hurt, it may not wake you up, but inside, the tissue is being stressed again and again, night after night. Eventually, that can lead to reduced firmness, minor curvatures, or even fibrotic changes, hardened spots that interfere with function, all from a simple piece of clothing. And let's not forget about temperature. The groin area needs to breathe. Excess heat, especially from synthetic fabrics, can reduce testosterone production over time and increase moisture buildup, which creates a breeding ground for bacteria and skin irritation. That itchy sensation you feel in the morning, it might not be dry skin, it might be your body asking for some air. So what's the solution? Simple. Give your body space to recover. If you're comfortable with it, sleep without underwear. Let gravity, airflow, and movement happen naturally. If that feels too exposed, switch to loose-fitting cotton shorts or pajama pants, something that allows movement and keeps moisture away. This isn't about fashion, it's about freedom, the kind your body needs to do its quiet repair work. While you rest, think of it as a form of self-care. You're not just sleeping, you're investing in your health. And if it feels odd at first, that's okay. Most changes do, but as with anything, awareness is the first step, and every night you let your body breathe is one night closer to better circulation, more comfort, and stronger function. So before you climb into bed tonight, ask yourself, is what I'm wearing helping me heal or silently holding me back? Because sometimes the smallest shift, one made in silence under the covers, can have the biggest impact where it matters most. It takes less than 10 seconds, no equipment, no pills, no pressure, just a simple moment of awareness. One that can reshape how you feel about your body and about yourself. We've talked about hygiene, blood flow, diet, sleep, but none of that matters if you don't show up for yourself. And that begins with a habit so small, most men overlook it entirely. Intentional check-in. Every morning, before you reach for your phone, take your hand, place it over your lower abdomen, just below your navel, and ask, how do I feel? Today, not did I get an erection, not did I perform well last night, just how does my body feel? This 7-second habit isn't about tracking performance. It's about reconnecting, noticing if you're tense, noticing if you feel warmth, heaviness, lightness, tightness, tuning in the way you might check your heart rate, your breath, or your posture. Because when you bring your awareness to your intimate health, even briefly, your nervous system responds. Your muscles soften, your blood vessels open. Your brain says, this still matters. And over time, it really does change everything. That one moment each morning begins to reshape your relationship with your body. It turns shame into curiosity, disconnection into care, and it becomes a doorway, not just to better physical health, but to deeper confidence. You begin to notice patterns. When I eat lighter at night, I feel better in the morning. When I skip wine, I sleep deeper and wake up feeling stronger. When I take a walk, I feel more alive, even down there. This isn't magic, it's attention. And that kind of attention, deliberate, quiet, masculine in the truest sense, is something most men were never taught to give themselves. But it's not too late, because healing doesn't begin with grand gestures. It begins with respect. The kind of respect that says, I'm still here, I still matter, and I'm ready to take care of myself. So take those 7 seconds tomorrow morning. Close your eyes, breathe, and remember, you're not aging out of intimacy. You're stepping into a new kind of strength, one rooted in wisdom, experience, and the choice to care. If this conversation felt long overdue, Maybe it's because it was. Now it's your turn. Drop a comment with your age or the city you're watching from, not for us, but for you. Let this be the day you said, my health matters, my body matters, I matter. And if this video helped you, share it with someone you care about, because no man should walk this path alone.